My name is Irimis. I'm from Puerto Rico, and I play main tank for the Los Angeles Gladiators.
But now it's time to introduce the Gladiators to the main stage.
My favorite hero is Winston because I'm able to go in and frag out people. With the team, I coordinate where we're gonna kill, and we just jump and instantly kill the target.
So he has less healing and less mobility, and that's going to prevent him from escaping as Remix bears down upon him. Walk into the jungle.
My best friend is Bishu because we've been through a lot, and we've been teammates from the past. We always try to find the small little things that will give you an advantage to win a game.
It's the series. To see the teamwork is there was way too easy there for the Gladiators. That's what a good tank player does.
Well, I'm excited to face Miro because he's been like the constant known best Winston for a while. Being able to compete against him and show what I'm capable of will prove a lot. You want to know who's the best player in the league? It's basically me, but because I have the best team in the league.
That's some spice right there. But is it pine spicy? I don't know. Remix has got a lot. If you're gonna say that you're the best player in the league, Hex, you got to back it up. Pine did already. It's the Remix. Can't just be because of the name, man. Can't just be because of the name.
It's really hard to stand out on Winston, as the best player in the league. You get none of the credit and all of the blame. A couple times you went in there and died early on, but that's just a healing issue. But you gotta love the confidence, man. And this team, the Gladiators, feel like they do really like each other. And I think that pays dividends as you go on through the season. We do have a substitute. That man, Shore4, will be coming in for hydration as we move on to the next map. But I think this is a smart move.
Yeah, this is going to show a little bit of the depth here the Gladiators have to work with on the offensive line as well. That's really what you want to see. You want to keep your opponents guessing, and so it's going to be a question of whether Philadelphia can adjust to whatever Shore4 is going to throw at them. Anubis is going to be the next map as well. Assault, a lot of action, a lot of choke points. And so what are you thinking, Hex? Where do you think Shore4 is going to go?
Well, I think you bring in Shore4 mostly because you're not exactly certain what you want to run. And Shore4 is a man of very versatile abilities. He can run darn near every hero at high levels. Hydration has a couple niche heroes that he's a little better at. I think Hydration might be the better Genji, maybe a little better Pharah, but Shore4 is probably the better Widow, and the fact that they weren't running Widow last time on Junkertown kind of hurt them because Carpe had really no competition. He was just picking people's off, no problem. So Shore4 is going to give them that consistent Widow threat, and towards the end, if they want to switch to a Reaper, one of the maps that you will see Reaper on, Shore4 can play that very well.
You get to see that Junkrat in play as well, I believe, if you want to try and play around the choke points here on this map. The countdown has begun, and we will be getting into the action in just a moment's time. As we see, we're gliding towards that second point. That's obviously, where Philadelphia will want to go eventually.
Okay, it does seem like the defense is rolling out. I want to see what Shore4 is on. Yeah, Shore4 will be playing Genji. The reason why you can play Genji here, even on defense, is probably for first point and to kind of shut down those narrow chokes. But I think that you still take Shore4 in this situation over Hydration because you might have to switch as you get to second point. A lot of strategies will vary as you go forward, but dive defense seems to be the order of the day for the Los Angeles Gladiators.
Gladiators really just sticking to their guns. This is what we were wondering about. No Bastion, for example, on Junkertown, not really showing too much depth in the tactics, but perhaps this is really what they've focused on this week in preparation for these matches as well.
Well, if it's not broke, don't fix it. I don't think they even quite know what's broke yet. Yeah, you had to play Seoul. That's not really fair. And you played Shanghai, who's in a rough spot right now. So I think even they are trying to figure out what works against these mid-level teams that we're going to have to beat to get into the playoffs.
This is where it gets fun as well with the subs. You just saw that little tidbit there that Shore4 is the highest damage-dealing player so far on this map. Maybe they're like, well, we got to play Anubis, just put Shore4 onto his home turf and let him run ham. So, I mean, already, Fraggy just kind of poking, prodding, trying to figure out where the defense is set up here for Gladiators, but by now, Philadelphia should have a pretty good idea of what's coming at them.
I think the Gladiators also understand that there is going to be a Widow on the field, so they're staying out of sight lines. They know they have to play defense out of where Carpe can do damage to them. And insta-res onto Boombox.
Oh, but this is big. They've already taken down Bishu, and he's a bit far out. They won't really be able to get the res off on him. And there's the shot from Carpe, looking for the follow-up. Shore4 just barely gets around the corner, but already having to give ground here. Gladiators, they've been pushed back so quickly.
Yeah, he's got to get out of there. They're going to pressure out this Widow with just the Winston, but that Winston now is in a bad position. That is Remix who goes down in the backline. An Ana sighting of all things, as Shaz is on the Ana.
That's not something you see every day. And while that biotic nade could give some, well, a chance, but Boombox with the snipe will take down Shore4. Carpe point blank annihilates Asher with the headshot. And now it's all going to be the slow and steady advance here unless we can see some real magic coming out from the Gladiators. The remaining players dying one after another. You will have Bishu still hanging around on the point, but not for long. And Philadelphia Fusion handily picking up the first point here.
Yeah, with both supports down, that was not going to go well for them. There will be a very small window where they have ultimate advantage, but the Gladiators were able to keep pretty even in that fight as far as damage done and healing done. So it's not an overwhelming ultimate advantage as you would get with a very swift offense and be able to push with all of your ults as opposed to something else. We're also going to see some switches from the offense of Philadelphia. Carpe will get off that widow onto Tracer. Shadowburn. Shadowburn's just playing Shadowburn. That's what I call Genji. I just call Genji Shadowburn, because why not?
Now that makes sense. Now I get it. I mean, when you're good, exactly. When it ain't broken, don't try to fix it. Poco, he does have his self-destruct, and so we're going to be looking to see when the artist decides to make use of his paintbrush on this canvas. That is the second point, and sure enough, just sends it launching in. Few places to hide, and what a valuable target to find. Big Goose is gone.
Best possible target. They brought up Boombox as well. They transcend in. They've got Valkyrie going as well. This is the push that they are all in on. They must get at least 33% to get permanent progress, or they will feel bad about using all of these ultimates. Gladiators already in stall mode now as Big Goose is on May. That means they have no mercy.
They get the 33%, and a large part due to Poco with the pushback there, not letting iRemix get in there to tap the point to contest. iRemix will eventually pancake Shadowburn, but still, they are in this fight. Philadelphia, they still have a chance, and Poco, he's nearly got a self-destruct again. This is unbelievable how quickly he's generating ult charge.
It seems like they're retreating now. It's tough because Shadowburn died with Dragon Blade. He was so low, it's actually smart that he didn't pop it there. In previous times, Shadowburn might have gone for it, but knowing that a Dragon Blade can finish out maps, especially assault maps, he holds on to it. They're happy to take this piecemeal. They're glad to get their third. Maybe next time they'll get 2/3. Short4's been playing everything. He's going to be on Junkrat for this next defense.
You know what's super sick about this for Shadow is that essentially Big Goose, no Valk, and there's no Transcendence to counter him either. If he finds the good positioning here to unleash the blade, he's going to just wreak havoc in the back line.
They can take this very slow, too. They know Big Goose has 0 because they were happy to see Big Goose come out as May. That completely resets ultimate percentage charge. Another Poco self-destruct ends up getting caught on the ledge.
Yeah, just off on the angle there. That's unfortunate for him, but he's just going to go diving in. And with the help of Carpe, picks up the kill on Fraggy to start things off. Looking very good here so far. Asher, though, shuts down Shadowburn, and that's after using the Dragon Blade as well. Shadow not able to get anything despite the fact that, well, Shaz did eventually get up to the Transcend.
Yeah,
that's not enough.
They do use that second resurrection. I mean, they popped it early on. Neptuno gives Big Goose a parting gift with a blaster to the head. Neptuno, one of the deadliest mercies in all of Overwatch League. He goes after people with his blaster.
He's not afraid to play the battle mercy. It's not a meme in his case. And there you go, Sherpa with the Ripfire. Shadowburn, it's coming for you. There's no hiding here. You're not going to be able to dash out of that one. Surf4 probably a little grin there. He knows that he's delayed him further. And Bishu now, the man with the self-destruct. He could even just chuck it out here, really, to just mess with him. But probably not. Probably going to hold on to it for the push.
I think they want to go in right away because that's why they resurrected Shadowburn right outside of spawn there so that they could get this aggressive push going in. A self-destruct will zone them out for a moment. You have to imagine Transcend should be coming in momentarily if they do want to commit to this push.
Just wanted the new mech. Just wanted to stay alive here and keep in this fight. Fraggy getting caught a little bit, taking a lot. Needs Poco there to help peel for him, keep him alive, keep him in this fight, and Shaz under pressure. It's going to be Carpe looking for an angle here, and Carpe really pouring on the heat. Just going to be able to back out in time.
He's going to back out into the loving arms of Poco self-destruct, which catches Remix. Down goes Shaz, and while they were all trying to deal with Carpe in the corner, everyone else got cleaned up. A quality distraction tracer.
What they need to do here, I mean, Boombox exactly. When is he going to use the Transcendence? How are they going to keep his teammates alive here? Because right now they have a little bit of an edge. They are gathering point, although as I say that, iRemix comes back with the Primal Rage, and he's just going to go bouncing around like everything's made out of rubber. And that is going to create the space for Sure4 to get the Rip Tire off. Neptuno and Boombox. Well, that's pretty much the end of the push.
That tire puts an end to it. People talk about tanks and their ability to make space, but in a live tracer, it sometimes does the same thing. Carpe back in the corner was causing such a problem for at least one of the supports that they had to call for help. That brings 2 people out of position, sometimes even 3. The rest of his team pushed in. Didn't work in that case, but if you're a tracer and distracting, you're still doing your job.
This is where you're really hoping, if you're Shadowburn, you're really hoping that Carpe is going to be able to pick off Shaz, because Shaz is now lining up with his Dragon Blade. Shaz for this next fight will have Transcendence again, so Shadowburn is going to be hard-pressed to get a result with the Dragon Blade unless they can get that Zenyatta out of the fight fairly quickly here.
Well, they do have Valk as opposed to the 40% of Big Goose's Valk, so they're going to preemptively pop that and try to push with it.
Let's see if they can do it. I mean, Shadowburn already getting forced back. No health pack there, but he will get heals from the teammates. Just hunting for a target here, and eventually he will have to commit. I mean, iRemix just zoning him out, dropping him down to around 100 HP. His teammate will be there to keep him alive, though. Neptuno flying high, and Boombox and Poco just finding frag after frag.
On the other side of things, they got Shaz as well, and Big Goose goes down at 76%. Had they been able to stall, he might have been able to get to his own Valkyrie, holding on to that fight, and this is why Genji is so good on last points. Dash resets and full-on cleanup, but it's taking a little bit too long, but Shadowburn busts out the blade, wants to put an end to it.
That was the most patient blade ever. He held on to that thing forever, waiting for the proper moment, waiting for the opening, and sure enough, they will get the second cap. Well done. The patience paying off here for the Philadelphia Fusion, and really Shadowburn, that was perfect. They had no answer for it on the LA Gladiators when he uses his ultimate.
It all kind of stems back to that moment where Big Goose switched off of the Mercy onto the Mei. And I just don't think that the Mercy should be the one making that switch. It should be someone else. Mercy still has some mobility to get back to the point if your team can give you that anchor point to Guardian Angel to, her ability to fly to her teammates and get on the point. But that set them back about 80% in the Valkyrie versus Valkyrie game, and they never really caught up. You saw the timing there. They were able to preemptively Valkyrie onto the point, and Big Goose died during that, unable to get his own Valkyrie up. And eventually, they simply didn't have the healing or the resurrection mechanics to be able to put on a defense.
That's the big thing, and that's what makes Mercy so strong and so invaluable in this current meta. The resurrects can make all the difference between a loss and a win. So countdown has begun once again. We have a minute, so we will be seeing exactly who these guys are going to be going for. Kind of curious to see what the Gladiators have in store for us, but I mean, that could be where Surefour gets to shine. Now, we didn't really see too much on Junkertown from Asher when he was playing the Widow, but Surefour can now try and create some space for his teammates with the sniper.
Surefour is very likely the best Widow on this team. A lot of people think Asher can play it, but it didn't really look all that good on Junkertown. I think Surefour is a little bit of the better Widow. Asher definitely the better Tracer, probably a Tracer specialist on this team, which is why you bring in Surefour. He's going to have his hands full, though, with Carpe, and the way they're setting up this defense, they've got the boosted Orisa up top. Gets a Mei wall, and then you're just going to set up a shield up here. They're actually even hiding this strat, too, for now.
They don't want to show anything too early, it looks like. But this is one of the more common variations that we see as far as defensive positions. You had Carpe on the Mei. Don't worry, he was just using the Mei wall. He wasn't actually going to stick to that. And he'll be able to get back in position with the Widowmaker fairly quickly here. Imagine that he'll begin. Well, I mean, that's the beauty of it with your Mercy right now. If you're Neptuno, you're like, who do I boost? I can boost, the Junkrat, or I can boost the Widow, but people will die anyways because Carpe immediately annihilates Surefour.
I think Surefour would have switched as soon as he saw this anyway. You could send both your tanks up there and try to dislodge it, but if you don't have the damage go through, yeah, exactly. You have to switch to a Genji right away. You send your Genji, your Winston, and your D.Va up there, get some damage going as well. So Surefour was headed back to spawn. Carpe just gave him a quicker route.
Oh, buddy, iRemix. Wow, that was a lot of damage taken, and he's still getting hammered. Carpe, free reign right now. Just pump rounds into him, makes a big target. But eventually they will manage to work their way around, and you're right, that is the danger here, being so closely packed together on the defense. You have all that AoE damage coming through with the jump pack, and exactly, look at this. iRemix is diving straight in on the target. He's got Surefour there to back him up, and Bishu trying to work with him, but he gets T-Mech so quickly.
And Remix has to do one of those awkward jumps where he shows his back to the Widow rather than his head, and that made him not hit that landing. Then he's got to reorientate himself and try to get some damage done as well. The Widow changes how the Winston can play. He can't dive in head first. That's why that jump looks so awkward.
Exactly right. You're trying to avoid that headshot damage. I mean, that's a feel-good moment for Carpe when you realize, hey, I don't even have to see the guy and he's trying to play around me. This is great. I'm loving it.
That's what a Widow pick does. You just have to play a completely different way. You can't fight in sight lines. You can't do any of that. And they're going to clean up this fight because Big Goose is down. That's why the retreat signal is on. They will try to reset. Only 2.5 minutes left on this first point. Already a very good defense for Philadelphia.
Yeah. Well played, though, by Surefour. He does hold on to the Dragon Blade. And now we've got Big Goose with the Valkyrie. But Neptuno, it's about to take over for him. Sure enough, he has his as well. And Boombox, I mean, we're just going to have all of the ultimates in this next fight. Boombox will have Trance in just a moment's time as well. So this is going to get fun here. It's going to get chaotic. We've got 2 minutes left for the Gladiators to cap this first point and start applying the pressure to the second. And here we go. Just go charging into the mix. Bishu taking tremendous damage. And where are his teammates? Where is anybody to help him?
Well, they were able to take down Carpe, but he is going to be resurrected immediately thanks to that Valkyrie. Here comes the blade finally from Surefour, gets to the back line, takes down Shadowburn. He's got more in his sights. dodged out though as Carpe hits a grapple shot while getting away.
Mid-air, drops him, gets rid of the threat. And now Shaz, while he's trying to dance in the corner, trying to stay alive here, Fraggy eventually gets picked. And it looks like they are going to start making some progress here, Los Angeles Gladiators. Asher will catch Neptuno, and that pretty much snuffs it. It's going to be Philadelphia Fusion defending from the second point, and Gladiators keeping it alive here.
Some patient play there on their own Valkyrie. It was popped by the Fusion first, and that's why Shore4 held on to that blade for as long as he did. Finally got something going, and this is the versatility this man brings as well. An immediate switch into Reaper.
Yeah, you called this, Hex. This is where it gets fun. You can't have that option when you've got Shore4. And so now Fraggy, Poco, you see the bead of sweat just making it. They know that this guy's got the Reaper, and Reaper is so good at dropping tanks thanks to those shotguns up close. Asher, kind of losing that duel there versus Carpe. Carpe going to be able to back off, and, well, they'll go for the reset. Neither one wants to be the first one to die here in this engagement.
Well, Poco at least has a chance. Fraggy is just fresh meat for the Reaper. Poco does get demaxed though, and both tanks now out of this fight for the defense. They're going to try to get a new mech for Bishu here, and he ends up picking up a kill with his self-destruct on the point.
The question is, do they have enough outlast? Can they actually survive long enough? Because Shaz and Big Goose both got picked early in this fight. And so they are not getting healed right now, Los Angeles Gladiators, and it's looking like they are trying to think about, do they need to back off? No, Shaz makes it back in the nick of time. There to support his teammates, only to die horribly. Carpe and Shadowburn just blitzing them in the end.
And that progress will revert a permanent 33 on the tick. And this, again, I mentioned the switches last time might have hurt them, but they switched Big Goose onto Lucio, Shaz onto Mercy, so that they could taxi each other back. So you speed boost to Lucio, the Mercy gets there faster. They were all in on that fight, thinking they were going to be able to pull it off. The Blade stopped them, and they're going to have to stick with it for at least one life, because you're not throwing away 90% on a Mercy ultimate charge.
Absolutely not, absolutely not. You need that balance for the next fight. Shore4, he's got to be a little bit careful here, but he does have his mates around him to help. So now, never mind. Boombox with the snipe volley. That is solid. Shaz gonna be able to bring Shore4 right back up again. And we're gonna be seeing here, when does Asher decide to commit? Exactly, there's the pulse bomb, wants to just guarantee that D-Mech.
Well, the D-Mech ends up turning into a self-destruct on the points, and so far it is still pretty slow going here, despite the Valkyrie that had gone off for Shaz. They will get another resurrection, but this Valkyrie is going to be wilting. Neptuno's now got his up, and that should be Philadelphia with a small advantage. Next couple kills could be the difference.
And there it is, the pickup. Shadowburn reigns supreme on this point. The defense is impregnable. 3 minutes left, and only one tick to their names here for Gladiators. So who comes out ahead in this fight? Who's coming out ahead in this situation right now, Hex?
I mean, I think as long as you're running Lucio with Big Goose, which is probably his best hero, but Shaz has to play Mercy, that Philadelphia is going to be ahead. They're kind of on off heroes right now. You want the Transcend, you want the extra damage, and it helps Shore4 a lot too to be able to discord those tanks. That way he only has to spend 2 shots instead of 5, and he doesn't have to reload or use Wraith Form to reload. We'll see if Shore4 can get a good position with Blossom. It's one of the most difficult ultimates to find a good spot for.
As you can see, Boombox, he's got the Transcend as well, and so he can be the one to kind of get in there and cancel out that Blossom if it happens. Turns out he doesn't need to. Turns out he's got a guy named Carpe on his team. Although Boombox, he can chime in as well, get kills of his own. Carpe is there to take out the major threats, and Shadowburn, of course, chiming in as well.
That's got to upset Shaz to get picked off by the other Zenyatta on the other team, and you don't even get to play Zenyatta right now. I think last time would have been the perfect time for the reset, but now you're pot committed yet again. You've got 70% on Valkyrie. You don't want to throw that away. Shore4 is likely going to die. Death Blossom is like a barrage in that. You are going to go in, hopefully get a lot of damage, but then you need the resurrection. They need to go in here with a Valkyrie and hope it works out. But Philadelphia's being such a better part of these fights that they're sitting on both their support ultimates.
And we are running out of time here for Gladiators. When you've got ults like the Primal Rage here for Fraggy to buy even more time, it's looking fairly good here for Philadelphia Fusion on the defense. And they are up 1 map so far in this series, in the lead. And so Carpe on high, goes ahead, chucks in the pulse. It gets canceled out immediately. Quick reactions there from Bishu, making the play to keep his team in it.
Shaz does have Valk up, has to pop immediately as he was low, so that Valkyrie already out. Dueling Valks on the point means none of his deaths are really going to be permanent unless someone dies in a terrible spot. Poco the first to be rezzed.
The Shadowburn right now, he's just staying alive infinitely here. Will finally manage to find somebody's back, and he is getting so close to the Dragon Blade, and that could be the turn of the tide if he decides to use it here in this next fight. We did have, well, sound barrier rather, just coming up, but there it is. The Dragon Blade and the hack and slash, and he is sure enough going to be able to clear some of these guys out of here.
Yeah, that's the baby Diva gives him the reset he needs to get another dash. It means Bishu is completely out of this fight. No remake possible. That is only one kill for the defense, though. That is two. Shaz falls again. And those small kills, huge Death Blossom, though.
That's the difference maker. Surfboard coming in big in the end. And we have Poco just buying as much time as possible here. Just dancing around on the point. Shouldn't be able to last too long, but they are going to try and stagger this. There are still players alive here. Able to tap it, able to contest, and that's what it's all about. The name of the game here for Philadelphia Fusion is to run down the clock. Only 15 seconds left here for Gladiators. That means that they're not going to have a whole lot of time left to work with when we switch sides again, because eventually the Gladiators will succeed. They have to. They're getting kill after kill.
This is the reason you pick Reaper here, as for his closeout potential on the map. Once you get the advantage, he kills targets quickly. Big bodies unable to stall. Even those tanks will wilt to the Death Blossom as well. That's why you make that pick, and very tight here time bank wise.
All right, so now we're going to go ahead and have a listen in on the comms here from Philadelphia. See exactly, I mean, we got that from Fuel earlier, so it's fun to start comparing some of the teams, see who's stronger in that department.
Diva. Mini. That time. Get out.
Right side, there.
Harvey.
Baby.
He's the main after. Help over. Price on me. Help. All point.
Passer.
Winston Discord. I'm gonna try and point soon.
Listen.
There's the one. Price to Discord. Oh, Winston.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's really good.
As far as I'm concerned, that was actually much cleaner than what we heard from Fuel earlier in terms of comms. That was it seemed like the playmakers were actually the ones calling the shots.
So what I've always found interesting about comms and esports is that no one says anything once, ever. It's, you know, you got GG, it stands for good game, but even like, you know, going back to StarCraft, you never said okay, it's always KK. And every call is Diva, Discord. I mean, maybe it's confusing.
Is like every TeamSpeak server just an echo chamber, actually? Is that what you're saying?
Apparently.
The in-game comms, it's just built in.
I think it's part of the frantic nature that you want to express it so much that you have to say it twice.
Yeah, I mean, that is the main thing, especially in a game like Overwatch where everything is so tense, the energy is so high, you are really just zoned in.
If someone misses one of your calls, that could be the difference between winning a map and losing a map.
I've seen it happen before by the finest of margins. And so now it will be Philadelphia. 50 seconds left to get any kind of progress at all on this first point. They have to make the magic happen, and Carpe once again drops the support this time. Shaz is gone already, but Big Goose will be there. That's one of the Resurrects gone and dead, and never mind, now we lose Big Goose. Carpe right now just mopping up the back line.
It's an old tactic to injure someone and then kill the person that goes to help them, and that's exactly what Carpe did there. That's how he's picking apart these supports, and this is the Philadelphia Fusion waltzing onto the points. Boombox with a style headshot onto short for Los Angeles needs a miracle here. I don't think they're gonna find it.
Now they're running out of time. Bishu desperate right now, and he is not gonna be alive much longer. He will get cleaned up eventually. There, that did buy just enough time, well, for Asher to get back into it, but it's not gonna be good enough. Philadelphia Fusion will be picking up.
Map number 2.
There we have it, okay.
That last stall out on the Fusion defense allowed them the chance to take that map, because once you get it under that minute and they have no time left, if you have a minute left, you get to push, you get a second shot at it. So they will get the second shot on the offense. The best the Gladiators could have hoped for there was a draw, but Point A Anubis, one of the hardest points in all Overwatch to defend.
Exactly. It's not like Numbani where you can get those hard locks, where you can really get the defense going solid. We saw Poco, he has been making plays, wondering if perhaps, you know, he's feeling a little bit of pressure here with the self-destructs. He's still picking up kills, but it's not the big plays that we've expected.